Yeah, I hope you guys get a chance to see Dr. Klein. I hope you get a chance to go to his concert. I think you'll like it. I was there a few years ago, had a good time. Actually got out on the dance floor. It was worth the price of admission by itself. But I hope you get a chance to go.
It's free. Yes, it's free.
Yes.
November 22nd. So if you're interested, here's some flyers. We'll pass them around. I'll do some on this side. There's more out in front. So if you are interested in your friends,
beautiful
pass them around.
Right, let's do that.
Yeah, I know that.
Do you remember this young lady? Do you remember her?
Yes.
Okay. Remember her?
Yes.
Okay.
How's she doing?
Okay, she's doing much better. Over the last month or so, her pain levels have gone down dramatically. She told me Monday to thank all of you guys for the prayers. Now, how is she and these cards related?
Dollar bill, black card, red card.
Vegas on the trip, right? Okay, how are these two related?
She knows how to pick them.
Okay, Monday, she comes into the office, and she's tired of looking at TV because she's stuck in the wheelchair, and she's tired of reading books, and she's tired of doing a number of things. So I got a couple of these, and I put her name on one of the two cards. I scrambled them up, put them in front of her, and said, pick out your name. She did that 7 times in a row, correctly. 7 times. So then I encouraged her to go home and do the same thing. So between Monday and Wednesday, she did it 20 to 25 times, whatever the number was. But out of those 20 to 25 times, she was correct 20 out of 20 to 25 times. Each time she did it, she was correct. Each time. And she did it 7 times in front of her son when he was here with me. Okay, in the office on Monday. Now, I'm hoping to encourage you that if she can do it, she just turned 90 years old. Okay? So I asked her on Wednesday, I said, how did you do it? Because I'm curious. Right? And she goes, well, number one, I'm not invested in this. I'm doing it for the fun of it. Whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. In fact, she did it so often, so well, so correctly, she frightened herself and started thinking there was something spooky. After about 20 times of doing it correct, she put it down and she said I wasn't going to do it anymore. But then she got excited again and she did it 2 or 3 more times. Okay. So she wasn't invested. She doesn't have her ego in this at all. Whether she's right or wrong, she doesn't care. She loves doing the psychic work. She loves this type of work. Okay? Yes. You gotta love this. You gotta love this. Okay? You know why you want to love this? You want to kiss this and take it to bed with you at night? You know why? Because we're going to calibrate you. This is calibration. This is calibration. You're not going to do any trading. You're not going to make any predicting unless you know you can get this right. I don't care how much information that you have that's knowledgeable. I don't care how much you know. If you can't do this correctly, you're not going to go any further with anything you do. Now, if you want your liberty, which is what this whole class is about, if you want your freedom, if you want your independence, no matter what's happening out there, you want that badly enough, you got to love this. So, this is liberty. This is your independence. Okay? Now, these are great ideas to put your name on a card, scramble it up, do it. I have her up to now 3 cards. Now she's looking at 3 cards. Okay, I bet she'll be able to do 3 cards. Okay? Her name on 1 card, 2 blank cards. Okay? But suppose you take this seriously and you decide to do something like this for calibration. The only bad thing about this is, since it's paper, it can easily get distorted. So now you're cheating. And you will cheat. I know that. Because I do it. Right? However, what could these 2 keys be?
Calibration.
Calibration. I like the keys. You know why I like the keys? Well, I can scramble them around, and no matter how I treat them, drop them, do whatever I want with them, I'm not going to distort them. They're small, compact. I'm driving. I can test myself. I was running Sunday, about 2 or 3 miles. I was scrambling the keys in my hands. I'm shouting out to myself, right, left, because I'm looking at the right, left side of these as to which one is the correct one, because I'm focusing on which key opens that stockroom door that's just behind Mary. So I'm running on the path, and I'm shouting right, left, I'm not thinking about this, and I'm scrambling this, and the people in front of me, they don't know what's going on, and they're moving back and forth as I'm shouting. So you can get in trouble if you're not careful. So I found myself, I did it 10 out of 10 times in front of that door. I was correct. Scrambling them up and not knowing. Then I go on the path, I'm running for about 2 miles or so, and I'm scrambling those. I'm wrong over 90% of the time.
How do you know you're wrong?
Because only one of these 2 keys opens that door.
But you're running and how do you know which one
And I'm
it is?
scrambling the keys, and then I'm holding them like this, so I don't see which one is which. I call one of them number 1, the other number 2, and I'm just scanning as I'm looking down the road as I'm running, and I see this in my mind, and I decide which one opens the door. Is it 1 or number 2? Okay?
When you said you're wrong 90% of the time, how do you know you're wrong?
Oh, because the one that came up, the key that came up, was not the one that would open that door.
He knows the one.
I know which one opens the door.
Okay, I was like, I don't
You
understand
have
how
to
you
know.
knew that
Yeah.
while you were running.
Well, if you had 2 cards, and put your name on a card,
Yeah.
you could scramble them up while you're running too and find your name or find a blank card, whatever you want. So I'm just doing it with the keys. Only one key opens
So there's
that
something
door.
about the key that you can check later.
Identify.
Yes,
It's
yes,
called-
yes, yes. There has to be some difference, of course. There has to be a difference, right?
That's okay.
All right, there has to be.
They're
So,
not the same.
they're not the same, no, these are 2 separate keys, 2 different keys.
And you know which one opens that door if
Yes.
you're really looking at them.
Yes, the one that,
There you go.
yes,
Saying
you can feel it,
yes.
okay? So I'm running on the path, I'm getting it wrong 90% of the time. Now I'm really wondering what's going on. Well, what's going on was I was stressing myself. I'm running, I'm trying to keep myself on the path, I'm trying to put myself into this state right here, into that state where I'm evaluating myself. The energetic me is holding on to the keys, the physical me is running on the path, and I'm trying to see all this, okay, as I'm doing this. And I'm still attempting to sense which of the 2 keys is the correct one. So then I realized, when I got to the end of the path, I sat down for a few minutes, I began asking myself, well, what just went on here? And then I realized that I was making some mistakes. So now running back, I'm correct 70 to 80% of the time by correcting for those mistakes. Okay? This morning, like I told you, you've got to be in the right frame of mind to do this work. So this morning I wasn't. But I still had to give evaluations on 2 stocks to my friend who's working with me on picking the 2 stocks. So I know I'm going to do it wrong. I just know it from past history. So what am I going to do? Well, I have to calibrate myself. I got the 2 keys out. I did it 3 times in a row. 3 out of 3 times I was wrong. 3 out of 3 times. So I sat down and I began to evaluate, what am I doing wrong? I went through my system. Then I realized what I was doing wrong. Then I got it right 4 out of 4 times. Then I made my predictions on the 2 stocks, gave it to my friend. He called me back just a little while ago. I got 2 out of 2 right on the stocks. Okay? So if I didn't calibrate myself, I would have gotten them wrong.
What did you do to get yourself right?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Everyone here will have to create their own system. You will have to create your own system, and you're going to have to test it, and test it, and test it, and test it, until you figure out what's right for you. Now, I'll help you, but you got to get going on something like this. Look, I realize that there is a chance you could lose money. But the greatest tragedy in our life is not the loss of money. The greatest tragedy is we lose time. We can replace money. Money's nothing. But we cannot lose time. If you'll calibrate yourself and take this seriously, take this very seriously, not for criticisms or judgment, to improve, then take all the information that Jack's giving you. Go as far as you want, but don't go anywhere unless you get this right. Do you understand me? And I don't care how long it takes for you to get this right. It could happen overnight. It could happen in 5 days. You could go on a losing streak for days. And then suddenly the correct idea comes to you, and now you're back on track. And it works. And every time you're wrong, that's the most important element of this, when you're wrong. Because when you're wrong, you'll find out what you need to do the next time, and the next time. And that is invaluable as to how important this is. Am I being clear about this?
So
So,
you figured out what you were doing wrong.
yes, yes I did.
What
Yes.
do you check?
Okay? Well, you're going to have a chance to play with this tonight. You're going to have a chance to play with this, okay? Then you'll be able to tell me for yourself, okay? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no,
Amen.
I don't want to interrupt. I was doing that I've been doing that with the keys at work because I have two keys and I have to open one key. I use more than the
Got it, got it.
Okay. So I was getting it right about 95% of the time.
Good?
When I was without doing the energy me and the physical me.
Okay.
As soon as I switch,
It's okay.
it was not coming.
Right.
Because I have an issue about left and right for a while, and
That's
I
right.
didn't like it, and I was fighting it, and
That's okay.
and
That's
then I
all right.
thought, oh, maybe it's because I tried to change, because I'm changing now
Right.
to a different system.
Okay.
I have to maybe whatever I have to do, but eventually it's gonna.
Well, let me explain one thing. Let me explain one thing. I don't care how you do it your way. I don't care how you do it your way, as long as you have a system in place that you know I do A, B, C, D, and then I do my evaluation and I get my answer. I don't care what you do. You do it your way, if you can do it that way. But there is one reason why I'm doing it my way. Not just because it works for me, but there is another reason here. Let me go to that reason. Okay, so that's a good question. Let me go back here. I had a person ask me about prayer. Does prayer really work? Well, she will definitely say it does. Okay, she'll say it does. And I think we could say personally for ourselves, we know it does work. But the question is, suppose we're praying and praying and praying and we're not seeing any results. What's really happening? Well, let's go back to this diagram. And I have to give Mary all the credit for this diagram that you've got on your laps there. She did a great job. She worked her way through it. It looks good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back into what we're doing here. And let me explain a little bit about prayer here, or at least my understanding of it. Okay, so remember we have our energetic circle to protect us against demons, dark forces, anything that's going to try to stop us. Okay, we know what to do there. In my version of this, I have the physical me. And we know that it's going through the earth and coming back, and I see the energetic me. Okay, why I'm doing it this way is for a very simple reason. I can replace the energetic me with one of you, or any one of you. Okay? It's very easy for me to do that the way I think. It's very easy for me to take any one of you and put you in that area. So I'm sending my energy through, and I'm sending gratitude to you. I'm sending acceptance and forgiveness. Now, I can't force you to accept that. We know that. We cannot force anyone to accept those things. But I'm encouraging you to understand what I'm doing, so if there's any chance that this energy will get through, you'll give it permission. But here's what's really happening. As I'm sending this energy into you, I'm sending it to your spirit, not to the physical you. I'm sending it to your spirit. Your spirit now gets energized. It gets energized. It's like giving it an additional push of energy. So now the spirit, your spirit is going, good gracious, finally someone understands this person has a chance. Someone's praying for this person, whoever the spirit belongs to, someone's praying for that person. Maybe I can come up with my energy. Spirit is saying this, I can come up with my energy. Maybe I can give his heart or her heart some information. Maybe I can give her heart or his brain some information. I can give something to that person to encourage them to change. By praying for someone, you're energizing that spirit to encourage that spirit to rise and start giving us information. If there's any way for us to physically accept that information, like through a dream, or someone tapping you on the shoulder physically and coming to you and giving you the information, you're wondering where it's coming from, I don't care. But by praying for someone, no matter how long it takes, that's what I believe is happening. I believe that's how it finally gets through. Am I being clear about this? Make sense? No. So how long it takes, I don't know. What we're giving them permission to allow that to occur, and however long it takes, that's however long it takes. But I will tell you, if you want someone to change, if we look honestly at ourselves, we probably have some of those same issues. Now, if we want them to change, we better make sure that we're going to give ourselves permission and allow ourselves to change. So when we send that signal into them, now we have even more credibility.
But when we want someone to change, we bring it into our sphere.
You can, yeah.
But how do we know when it's safe to do that?
Well, you can, all you have to do is just tell your spirit that when it's safe for me to do that, when I do this technique, they appear in my spirit when it's safe. That's all you have to do. If they don't appear, it's not safe. You're not ready. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I don't know if, okay. Am I gonna get it right?
Well, we have to start trusting sometime, right? We have to start trusting, okay? And if for some reason it doesn't feel right, even though we've given it permission to work, then stop the process, change it, and put yourself back in, if it doesn't feel right. Okay? But I guarantee you, if you give it permission, it will work. Yes.
So what if we think we want somebody else to change?
Mhm.
However, there really isn't a need for that person to change. It's a shift in perspective that we have to have. And it's not that we're doing something wrong, but the
Right.
truth is we don't always understand
Right.
circumstances.
Right.
So, you know, shouldn't we be focusing on what we need to change,
Mhm.
and then whatever is appropriate in relationship to that person,
Right.
let their higher self guide that, as
Exactly
opposed to
right.
saying,
Exactly right.
okay, I want that person to change.
Right. But we can give them permission.
Giving
We
permission.
can give them permission, and that's what we're always doing, is permission. If they don't want to accept it, fine. If it's not appropriate, great. We're just giving permission, if we feel that there's a need. Okay? I would rather that we take the chance, rather than burning inside and creating a lot of physical problems inside because we're burning up with some issue that seems like it's because of them, or we can't handle the issue inside ourselves. I'd rather that we release that energy and at least attempt a process like this than burn inside and have no hope at all. Okay? But before you start doing things like that, I would ask you, get good with this. I would really ask you to use a pair of keys. Now, I did pens before, like a pair of pens, but they can easily be modified. This could get bent a little bit, the handle, and then immediately you understand, you know you know what the answer is. No. Go with something where you don't know what the answer is. It's simple, safe, and you can practice it constantly. Constantly. I've gone for it like 20 times in a row, I've gotten it correct. I've gotten it wrong 20 times in a row. Okay? There's no guarantee on this, but what you want to do is practice and practice and practice. And once you're good at it, then you're free to move on and do what you want.
I'm glad you say that because I thought, oh, come on, get on with the key and do something else because you just doing this. But I guess it's a good thing.
Oh, this is very important. This is very important.
I was just thinking,
You got to calibrate yourself, because if you don't, and there's a very important situation coming up, and you have to make a decision about it, and you're out of calibration, you know what the answer is going to be. Yeah.
Is calibration the same thing as just determining whether you're reversed or not?
No, it is. It really is.
You just want to make sure that you're getting the right answer, then you can go make your big,
Right.
your scan, because you
Right.
think you're going in the right direction.
Correct.
So, I've got some ideas on techniques for correcting that, because
Okay.
I've seen a few
Could you
different,
stand?
oh,
Could you stand,
sure.
please?
I've seen a few different things you can do. One is if you do the leaning, and you normally lean, and you think that going forward is a yes, and you actually start going backwards, and you know you're reversed. So one thing you can do is you move the energy up. You just over your head like this, and then try it again. I've also seen people take a little magnet and do the same thing and pull the energy up, and then try it again. And I'm sure there's lots that you can do. You can do tapping. to rebalance your energy, and there's also symbols you can use. There's all kinds of things you can do.
You can exercise.
Yeah, you can walk.
You can get more sleep.
breathe.
You can eat the right foods. There are any number of different ways, but until you start practicing with this and find what works for you, and next week or the week after we'll make up a list of ideas of what helps put you in the correct direction, but you're never going to get there until you test. Okay? And if you use something objectively like this, for me, I need something objective like this. So I scramble them up. I don't know which one is which. I have my statement as to a simple statement, a couple of words about which one opens that door. And then if I get it right 3 or 4 out of 4 times or so, then I know I'm good. I have to be objective. For me, it wouldn't work to lean forward one way or another. It wouldn't work for me. Okay? But you got to find out what works for you. Am I being clear?
Are those keys identical?
Except for numbers at the top. Except for numbers at the top, they look pretty identical to
They're
me.
identical.
Okay? And if they're not, don't tell me.
Oh. They are identical, except for the numbers.
Except for the numbers at the top. So I never touch the top part. I never touch.
Uh-oh, I touched it.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh,
No, that's
that's
all right.
okay.
So- No, that's okay.
Not
As long as
scanning.
I'm not scanning.
Right.
So the differences are the numbers at the top, up here. So I always touch at the shank, and I make sure that I never, ever, obviously, look in that direction or touch anything above the shank.
And the reason is?
I don't want anything to interrupt what I'm doing or influence what I'm doing. What I do is I look away, I may shake them up a little bit, turn them around a little bit, then I'll hold it in my hand like this, away from me, like this, and then I call one of them number 1, the other number 2. It's always number 1, number 2 for me. And then I ask my spirit which one is correct using my methods. Is it number 1 or number 2 that fits that door? Okay, that's what I do for me. Okay.
And do you have to hold them both in the same hand?
No.
You can use
You
one
can-
in one
you can do
hand
it
and
this
then
way.
just choose right and left.
Now, if you really want to be creative, you can throw them in the air.
You can juggle!
Juggle, put 4 of them in your hand. Okay, we'll get really good at this. Okay, so I want to give you some ideas as to what to do to practice, but you must start practicing, and I mean you got to practice. You get good at this, but then you're free to do anything you want, because remember what we said about prosperity. We said prosperity is not about the money. Prosperity is about your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Now, if you have to make decisions in any of those other categories, once we get this correct, and we get this correct consistently, and you have to make a choice, then it's real easy to go from this to whatever question you have in getting it right. It's very easy. And if you don't do this, well, I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't go any further. Okay? I really wouldn't. You really want to calibrate yourself and take the time and work your way through the issues you have. One thing I proved today. The reason why I got the first 3 wrong when I did that, I realized that I had a self-sabotaging program running. Because the moment I said to myself that I give myself permission and I allow myself, the moment I said that, in addition to what I was doing with the keys, but I used that as my statement, immediately I got 4 out of 4 correct. I was not giving myself permission. I wasn't allowing myself to get past my own self-sabotaging program. We all have it. Okay? And I guarantee you, it's going to come. You'll face it yourself. Okay? So please, okay, experiment with it. Keep an open mind. And once you experiment, then we can talk about it, and I'll give you many more ideas. But if you fail, if you aren't getting it correct, be very grateful that you're learning now. Be very grateful. Am I clear about this? Okay? All right. So, let's go a little further. All right. So, let's go back. Let's go to some tests that we have for tonight. Good, we have enough time. All right. We have 4 envelopes. Okay, here they are. And you have your money with you. Good. Those who have your money, good job. Who needs, if you're without it? Okay, why are we using the money?
Power.
Vibration.
Good catch. Yeah. So what's the reason for the money?
Vibration?
Vibration. Vibration. I don't know how else to talk about prosperity. Money is an objective measure. It's not your health, it's not relationships, I can't measure that. But money can help activate that energy that's going through your body. It can help activate this if we understand we're just using it to encourage us to think better. That's all we're using it for. It's a prop. It's just a prop. Okay? So, we've got those 4 envelopes. They're yes or no answers. I'll give you 5 minutes to go through those 4 with yeses and nos. So you tell me what the answers are. Use any method you want. Now, if you want to come up and touch the envelope, you can do that. You can touch it if you want. Okay? But I would just touch it with your hand like this rather than taking them off and feeling for certain things.
So this part has nothing to do with the keys.
No.
Well, soon, I hope everyone here will have a pair of keys, and that you'll calibrate yourself immediately before you would answer those questions. So right now, it doesn't. This doesn't. In the future, I'm hoping it will. But I want to give you practice. I want to give you practice towards looking at yes and no answers. Yes?
Is there anything written on there, which envelope is which? I can't make it
Okay.
out here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, and 4. That's it.
No, I can't see it.
That's it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it. So this is 1, and that's 4. Okay? That's 4. Yes.
Could you read the questions out loud for me?
Tell you what. Why don't you read the questions out loud?
Well, that's what I was asking because I didn't bring my glasses.
Oh.
Okay. Will this help?
Yes, thank you.
And Jeff, seriously, would you stand and read those questions, each one, please?
Sure.
This is important because the more information we get,
Oh my God, this is great. I love these glasses.
The fence on you.
I'd go back to reading books if I had to.
there you go.
Okay, number 1. Here's our test for tonight. The denomination of money in envelope number 1 is a $20 bill. Number 2. The number written on the card in the envelope 2, envelope number 2, is 4. Number 3. The color of the card in envelope number 3 is black. 4. The color of the card in envelope number 4 is pink.
Very good. Now, if you want to, you can get up and walk around a little bit. That might help jar some things. Just walk around a little bit, come back in about 5 minutes, and think about, sense those answers. I find for me, if I get out, exercise, do some things, it kind of helps me get back into calibration. Because it's pretty warm in here.
And the winner is?
Damn, look, that's it's a $5 bill.
All right. Okay, who's number 2?
2. The answer is a number 5.
I gave the glasses back. Is that a yes or
And the winner
Not
is?
too soon, right? That's black.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. All right, who has number 4? David, do you have
I'm sorry, what was 3? Black?
3 was black.
So it was black.
Uh-huh.
Was it black or was it?
It
It
was.
was black. It was black.
Yeah.
Black?
Yeah. Number 4.
It was white.
And you know what? I think I got right.
Okay.
Black?
All right, so was that was white. Number 4 was white. All right, so tell me, you asked 4 out of 4. That's 4 out of 4. Raise your hands. How about 3 out of 4? Good. Good job. Good job. That's very good. Very good. Very good. Jack, how did you get 3 out of 4? Would you mind standing and telling me?
That's because I was here for a while.
What color
Quiet,
is number
quiet.
4?
Wait a minute.
Blanca.
Blanca?
I first meditate
I
and
made
focus,
2 only.
focus on energy going through my physical self and energy self, and I visualize putting that card on my spirit. Then I visualize and tell my spirit, if it's yes, then go to the right, and if it's no, go to the other side. and I sense that that's not a $20 bill because it's going to the no side. I mean, the energy flow goes to the no, so I take no. That's how I take it. That's not a $20 bill.
Good. Very good. Thank you. Aldo, how did you do it? Would you mind standing? Tell us how you did it.
Well, I went through a similar being in the sphere which I already did today,
Right.
and then asked myself permission, and then still did left and right, one being yes, one being no, just testing to see what I got.
Good. Very good. Okay. I'm sure some of you must have had some different ways of doing it. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're getting the correct answer. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Do it whatever way you're comfortable doing. Okay. All right, so let's go on a little bit. So now we're going to questions 5, 6, and 7. And look at that. 5, 6, and 7. They don't have any questions that I'm going to give you directly, like I did 1 through 4. How in the world are you going to get the answers? Now, I did make it up. I know the statements for 5, 6, and 7. I know. Yeah. Only me. So how are you going to get the answers?
You know your number 6 on
5, 6, and 7.
It's the same way, even 1, 2, 3, and 4, it doesn't matter what the question is. If you just ask if it's yes or no answer to each number.
Okay. True. That's definitely true. What you could do, if you want, you can imagine I'm standing up here, and you're going to my spirit, and my spirit will give you the answers to 5, 6, and 7. You could go that way. You could take your own spirit and come up here, and imagine your spirit already knows the answers, because my spirit is working with your spirit. We're all connected. The answers are already known. No matter who has the information, we all know the answers immediately. The problem is getting it through our brain and heart. Am I being clear about how you could approach this? Interesting idea, right?
Did you just give us the answer?
Come here, yes, you'll get it.
We said that we already know, and you
already
will
know
know.
the answers.
So you said no twice. That was funny.
Okay.
I have a key, you have a key, or the statement that I have a key that opens the front. Okay,
Yes.
what about Mr. Jackley gave you homework? Is that you or is that me?
Good question.
I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, what is this
He
statement?
gave all of
You
us
gave all of
homework.
us homework.
I know. So you're saying we obviously really do know the answers to these. And we're just
Of course we do.
Yeah.
Of course we do. Of course we know all the answers. Okay?
Except-
Okay, but the point was,
Yes, he did, but that might not be the statement that is in the card.
now wait a minute, those 5, 6, and 7 should not have been passed out yet. I said not yet. Well, I told you, you all know the answer. Doesn't always work.
doesn't say the answer.
That's okay.
All right. Next week, we will go back through this and we'll do it the right way.
Should we turn in our handout?
Yes or no, we get to choose yes or no.
Yes, that is true. That definitely is true. Well, I'll tell you what.
We don't know number 7.
That's true.
We do.
Yeah.
We don't know
All
that.
All right, we can at least go that route. Okay. All right, so what can we do? 5 and 7 then?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
All right.
Yeah, we can do 5 minutes.
Okay, we just made it easier, but we'll still do it. All right. So take a couple of minutes. Give me the answers. take about 2 minutes, and then we'll go for the answers. And here they are. There's 5, and then there's 7. In case you want to refer to those.
Are you jingling?
Oh.
You just eliminated one possible. Okay. Go to the answers at the end of this minute. So we've got about 45 seconds. 42 seconds. 41. 40. Let's put you under pressure. Remember, give yourself permission. Allow yourself to know the answers. Let the energy go through both sides of the body. Imagine as you're standing on the earth, you're getting the energy going through both sides of your body equally well. Okay. Go into a deep state of relaxation. Your spirit knows the answers. It knows the answers. Okay. All right. So, everyone mark their papers. Roxia, how about if you take 5? Okay. Sandra, how about if you take 7? Okay. Roxia, would you mind?
I have the key? Yeah. Yes, he has the key in his pocket.
Yes, I do have a key, but
Doctor.
is this the key that opens the door?
Oh, is it the key? It says yes. It says yes. It is the key.
Yes, it is. It is the key. Okay.
I got that. Yay.
Yes. Good. Good. All right. Sandra.
Okay, written on the card in envelope 7 is the number 22. Yes.
So it is the number 22. Okay.
22.
All right, so who got 2 out of 2? Very good. Very good. Yes. Please, tell us, how did you get 2 out of 2? Please. Would you stand and tell us?
That's how I got money.
Yeah, I had the money in here and I was, I just concentrated and just asked Spirit what the answers were. And
That's how that works.
it didn't really give me a left or right or anything, it was just a yes or no.
Yeah, but it worked.
Yeah.
How did you hear it, see it? How did you get, what told you yes or no? You don't know.
No.
I knew
Exactly
that.
what it was.
Every person in this room knew the answer from their spirit. Everyone. It was almost like shouting. The problem is, can you get it past your heart and brain
that's trying to stop that. That's trying to prevent that from happening. I told you, this morning I was out of sequence, out of timing. I tried it 3 out of 3 times, got it wrong. I calibrated myself, did it 4 out of 4 times correctly, went right into picking out the stocks, completely correct. Okay, you must continue practicing the calibration. Okay? And just keep testing and keep testing. Okay, Roger.
Gary, what I have learned is that I get a voice. I hear myself talking.
Roger, would you mind standing so everyone can hear you, please?
What happens to me is I'm not a good meditator. I set it up and this voice comes in and it tells me the answers, and then the ego starts to try to change the answers. So if I just get that first answer that comes through and ignore the rest, like I got the answers these instantly. I mean, I knew, and so I wrote it down, then I said, well,
I had it right, and then I discussed.
so the voice said, yes, no.
You got a voice.
Well, I could hear myself. I didn't hear a voice in my mind. I heard my mind talking. I didn't hear a voice, but there was a little yes, no, or whatever it was. Just
I was shouting to Roger and Roger.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the point is, after I did that, then I started going, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I said,
Yeah.
So I had to fight the yes, no, yes, no.
2 out of 2?
I did, but I changed.
Please, please, this is important. Please, why did you change? This is very, very important. This is very
Because in
important.
the past, what I've done is, I've changed it and it's been right. So this time, it's like, well, I'm gonna change. And it was kind of like, no. And I'm gonna change it because it worked for us. I got 1 out of 2. I say,
I can tell you from personal experience, and 95% of the time, if I get my answers and I go back and change them, am I going to be right or wrong? Wrong. Wrong, 95% of the time. There have been a few exceptions, but if there are exceptions, it's because I've calibrated myself. I've calibrated myself and I've checked it thoroughly. Then if I do need to change, then I have justification. But if the ego gets in the way, you know how that can work, and you'll go wrong. That's perfect. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Very important.
So how many people got that last one right?
All right, well, how many people got 2 out of 2? Take a look. Okay, I did 2. So. Hey, my scores were pretty good so far. But seriously, how many people? Come on, how many people got 2 out of 2? Come on, raise your hands. People, ages. Stand, my friend, stand. Please stand. Stand. No, please, come on, stand. Stand. You made my week.
Yes.
You made my week. Thank you. How did you do it?
Because I'd usually get 100% wrong, so I figured I'll listen to the other voice, what you're saying. So.
Very good. Excellent job. Excellent job.
But she did the same thing. It just worked for him this time.
It worked for him, but they're going in the right directions. They're actually, because someone has to make a choice, whether it's right or wrong, you got to make that choice. Doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. It'll be right later, but you got to make that choice. And you have to have some justification for making that choice. And you got to pull the trigger. You pull the trigger, make the choice. Don't worry about the results. That'll come later. Just pull the trigger. Make the decision. It's as simple as that. And keep testing and testing and testing. And if you get upset, go off, do something, come back and retest. And keep testing till you learn what to do. If you want your liberty, this is the only way I know that I can say without any type of question, this will work. All right.
One thing I found that...
Which one is standing?
The thing I found is that the question has to be very clear to when you ask yourself the question, because then you may get the wrong answer because you're not clarifying the question first.
Right.
Like in some systems, in kinesiology, you have to really get the question just right. Like you use hand modes and everything, just to get the question just right. So I think it's very important to focus on what the question is really asking.
That's right.
And be very clear on it.
Yeah. And that's a very good point. And if you're not clear, I don't care how many times you must clarify it in your mind, go back, ask questions, rewrite it, I don't care what you do.
but you must make sure this is exactly what I need to answer. I gave you another question about the money because there was a question last week about clarity of my previous statement, my initial statement. I hope that I corrected that by being clear that we were actually looking at a denomination of a certain type of bill this time around.
Yes.
But if you're not clear, I don't care what you need to do, you must make sure you are. That's a very important point. Very important. Okay?
But that's what happened to me. I just kind of read it real quick and
Right.
then,
I know. And these are the mistakes you want to make here. Okay? These are the mistakes. Okay. All right, so, tell you what. Ida, would you please?